Welcome back, art enthusiasts and LGBTQ+ supporters. This is the second installment in our series exploring the incredible work of Tom of Finland. If you missed our first video covering Tom's early years, you can find it linked in the description below. Today, we're diving into the transformative 1950s, the decade that saw the birth of Tom's iconic style and the lumberjack archetype that would define his early work. Before we begin, a quick reminder. We've had to carefully select and crop images to keep things YouTube-friendly. Our goal is to celebrate Tom's artistic genius and his impact on LGBTQ+ culture, rather than focus on the more explicit aspects of his work. For uncensored versions, we encourage you to check out Tom of Finland, The Art of Pleasure by Tashin. Now, let's recap and set the scene. In the 1940s, we saw Tom, then known by his birth name, Tukko Laaksonen, creating colorful, diverse characters in various mediums. As we enter the 1950s, we witness a dramatic shift. Tom moves away from color, embracing black and white drawings that showcase stronger, more angular figures. This is where his fascination with lumberjacks truly begins to take shape. The 1950s were a pivotal time for Tom, both personally and artistically. By day, he was living a double life as an art director at the advertising agency McCann Ericsson in Helsinki. But by night, he was secretly creating what he called his dirty drawings, the erotic art that would eventually make him famous. Talk about a Clark Kent/Superman situation. Now, you might be wondering, where did this lumberjack obsession come from? Well, it turns out Tom's inspiration was rooted in his childhood in rural Finland. Growing up surrounded by farmers, loggers, and laborers, young Tukko was captivated by these rugged, masculine figures. Little did he know that these early impressions would evolve into the hyper-masculine archetypes that became his trademark. In 1956, Tom took a leap of faith and submitted some drawings to the American magazine Physique Pictorial. Worried about potential backlash, remember, homosexuality was still criminalized, he simply signed them as Tom. It was the magazine's editor, Bob Miser, who added the "of Finland" part, giving our artist an air of exotic mystery. And just like that, Tom of Finland was born. Tom's big break came in the spring of 1957 when his drawing of a muscular lumberjack graced the cover of Physique Pictorial. This wasn't just a career milestone. It was a cultural moment. Tom was presenting a vision of gay men that simply didn't exist in mainstream culture at the time. In a world where homosexuality was often associated with effeminacy and weakness, Tom's men were strong, confident, and unashamedly sexual. Revolutionary stuff, folks. As the 50s progressed, we see Tom refining his technique. He ditched the colorful palettes of his earlier work, focusing instead on black and white graphite drawings. And let me tell you, the man became a master at rendering textures. The suppleness of leather, the roughness of denim, the smoothness of skin. Tom could capture it all with just a pencil. His attention to clothing details became legendary. This was a man who understood the erotic potential of fashion. Now, it wasn't all lumberjacks in the 50s. Tom was also influenced by the emerging biker culture, especially after seeing Marlon Brando in The Wild One in 1953. This influence would become more prominent as he moved into the 1960s, but we can already see hints of it in his late 50s work. Black leather jackets, tight jeans, and cocky attitudes started making appearances alongside the flannel shirts and work boots. It's important to note that throughout this period, Tom wasn't seeking fame or notoriety. He was simply trying to share his passion with the world. In fact, despite the growing underground popularity of his work, he remained relatively unknown in his home country of Finland. He was driven by love for his art and a desire to create authentic representations of gay men, a true inspiration for LGBTQ+ artists everywhere. The 1950s laid the groundwork for Tom's later success. His unique vision, technical skill, and ability to tap into hidden desires within the gay community were all developing during this crucial decade. While he wouldn't achieve mainstream recognition until much later, it wasn't until the 1970s that he could pursue art full-time. The seeds of his influential career were firmly planted in these formative years. As we wrap up our look at Tom's 1950s work, we can see the foundation being laid for what would become his iconic style. The exaggerated musculature, the focus on uniforms and leather, and the joyful, uninhibited sexuality. All these elements would continue to evolve and define Tom's art for decades to come. In our next video, we'll be exploring Tom's biker years, where we'll see him fully embracing the leather scene, arguably before there even was a leather scene. Many would say we can credit the leather subculture to Tom's influential artwork. Before you go, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this video. Your support helps us continue creating content celebrating LGBTQ+ artists and their contributions to the art world. Remember, by supporting this channel, you're also supporting LGBTQ+ artists living with disabilities worldwide. Once we reach 1,000 subscribers, we'll be donating a percentage of our revenue to LGBTQ+ foundations, potentially including the Tom of Finland Foundation. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. How has Tom of Finland's work impacted you? What aspects of his art would you like us to explore further? Your feedback helps shape our content and keeps Tom's legacy alive. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Tom of Finland's groundbreaking work. In these times when LGBTQ+ rights are once again under scrutiny, it's crucial that we continue to celebrate and support queer art and artists. Tom's legacy reminds us of the power of authentic self-expression and the importance of creating spaces where all identities can be celebrated. Until next time, thanks for watching. Keep embracing art, supporting diversity, and championing the LGBTQ+ community. I'll leave you with some classic Tom of Finland images and see you in the next video.